The men are coming. The men are coming. The men of DABS are coming. Stay tuned, the men are coming. The men in our DABS have arrived to give you the Fourth Friday Story Hour. Let's do it again. We'll be back in a second. DJ, where's my theme music? Men are coming. Men are coming. Men are coming. Hey everybody, good to see you. Welcome to Let's Do It Again. Hope that you enjoy this show that's coming up. We have a few things going on that you'll see. We have some very entertaining things that'll keep you, tickle your phony bone. Ivory, I'm gonna get you for this, man. I owe you. I'm gonna get you for this. Anyway, so let me introduce the first speaker. This guy is something else. I've been saying for a couple of years now, he's coming. Not is he not coming, he's here. This guy is doing his thing now all over the place. He's competing in different contests and that kind of deal. We'll talk about that when he gets done. But let me bring on the one, the only, Larry Castleberry.
186,000 miles per second. I took a look at my car, a Ford EcoSport. Now we all know that a car cannot get to 186,000 miles per second, but I had to try it, and I did. But the car only got up to 82 miles per hour, which I found out was a little bit too fast in a 55 mile per hour speed lane. I know this because a state trooper gave me a ticket. But I kept trying. I kept thinking of ways I could get to that 186,000 miles per second. Until I came across something that said, Scientific America, that consciousness can actually go out into the cosmos. And what I had to learn how to do was practice a little mindfulness. So I sat down in my house. I breathed in. I breathe out. I breathe in again. I breathe out. And nothing happened. Then I decided I had to do something to help me with my mindfulness. I tried myself some high quality wine. Inspired. Oh yeah. I breathed in again. I breathed out, and suddenly I was one with the cosmos. I was going back in time to 1975, Detroit, Michigan, 4900, where I saw my younger self. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Back in 75, I looked good. You see, I had myself a fro, but my fro wasn't quite right. See, it was mad on one side, little off on the other side. And so I walked up to my younger self and I said, try this. Try this being, I held up the iPhone and I let my younger self take a look at it. My younger self looked at it, took a picture of himself, the first selfie. He then tried to move it around to see how to fix the fro. I then took that camera and had a great idea. I put it on a stick. how we then came up with the selfie stick. Oh, I was full of first back in 1975. But then the younger me was able to take that iPhone and hold it up and see his throat. My younger self grabbed some Afro sheet and with a little applied the hairspray. Then took out one of the picks. Oh, you know the pick we had back in the 1970s. Power to the people with a little pick, 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 and pick. After that, the fruit looked good. My younger self called all of his friends around, and they all gathered around to take a look at the fruit. They held up the iPhone on the stick, and they all took pictures of themselves. And then they all started to work on their fruit. A little a little pick, 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 pick. All the kids on 49 Harmon had themselves a nice looking fruit. Well, I stayed back there at 75, making sure that my younger self looked good, so that he could grow up to become the person that you're looking at today. After I had done what I needed to do, I went back into breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Except there was a problem. I could not connect with the cosmos. I was stuck in 1975. So I had to do the only thing that I could do to help me once again to become one with the universe. I went out. I went down to the store. And so if you remember this from Sanford and Son, I got me some nipple. I had myself a little sip, and then I breathe in. I breathe out. In. Out. And I was back in 2024. So now if you go get that unabridged autobiography of Steve Jobs, and you look carefully through the pages, you will see a picture of a young, handsome, black man with a beautiful fur. That's a picture of me, Larry Castleberry, the first user of the iPhone in 1975. Now, I recently read a book written by Ivy D. Williams, which is a collection of stories from band members. And he starts off by saying that stories are things that happen, whether it's in the past, in the present, or in the future. But what's important is that stories are told. And so I have another story that I want to share with you. Now, many years ago, life was good. I was having lots of fun. But I decided I needed to do a little something about my health. And so I started to exercise, started to eat right, started to take care of myself. Things were going pretty good. But one day, I'm at a company picnic, and one of the individuals there says, "Man, you know, death has all of our names written on it. Who wants to be the healthiest man in the graveyard?" I thought to myself, yeah, who wants to be the healthiest man in the graveyard? So I decided I was going to take a new tack. I was going to start to enjoy this thing called life. That next morning, I I got up bright and early. I decided I was going to fix myself some breakfast. I opened up the refrigerator. I saw beef sausages. I saw chicken sausages. I decided I didn't want any of that. I went to the grocery store and I bought myself some Edmonds pork sausage. The patty. I came back home, cut off the tip, squeezed it out, mashed it together, put it in my cast iron skillet, and it made the sizzling sound. I took another patty, squeezed it out, put it in that skillet. I was having so much fun, I made a third patty and a fourth patty. Put the spatula on and smash it down and make sure it was cooked well. Flipped it over. There it was, my sausages. Took my sausages out of that cast iron skillet and I cracked 1, 2, 3 eggs right there in the sausage grease. Oh, I know some of you are saying, ugh. But all of you are wrong. Because many of you came up in an era where we had the Crisco can on the stove, and you know that grease, old grease, seasoned grease, made your food taste better. And I ate my breakfast, and it was good. Now things were going well for the next several months, until I had to go back to the doctor for my annual checkup. The doctor asked me to fill out how I was feeling that day. The form. I put a smile face on it. I was then called in by the nurse to take my weight. It read pounds. The nurse looked at her chart to see what I weighed the year before. Then she looked back at me. I wasn't fazed. I looked at her. I'm an engineer, and I told her that clearly her scale needed to be recalibrated. She then took my blood pressure. That blood pressure read 150 over 100. She put her pad down, pulled her glasses down to the bridge of her nose, and looked at me over the rim of her glasses. I was fazed. I pulled my glasses down, looked at her over the top of my glasses and said calmly, country barrel, sausage biscuit, and gravy. Finally, I came in to see the doctor. The doctor looked at me and says, Mr. Castleberry. I said, doctor. He says, I see there's been some changes in your health. I said, yes, sir. He says, your weight has gone up considerably since last year. I said, mm-hmm. He says, your blood pressure is dangerously high. I said, uh-huh. He said, your cholesterol? I said, well, Mr. Castleberry, there are major league hitters that would love to have a batting average as high as your cholesterol reading. I said, well, doctor, tell me some more. The doctor looked at me and said, Mr. Castleberry, is there something you would like to tell me? I says, doctor, there it is. You see, I don't want to be the healthiest man in the graveyard. I'm going to live my life and enjoy it. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to smell the roses and eat the pork sausages. The doctor looked at me, put his pad down, and said, Mr. Castleberry, death will be something that you're going to be wishing for if you keep going the way that you're doing. You see, you are on the path to have a stroke, where somebody is going to have to take care of you, clean you, wipe you. And if you don't change your ways, that's where you're going. Well, depressed, I left the doctor's office and went home thinking about how I was going to change my weight, how I was going to get my cholesterol level down. Just then, I heard something on NPR radio. And they were talking about how the French ate all this rich food, but they did not have problems with heart disease because of their consumption of wine. I then went to the wine store and I picked out the most expensive wine that I could afford. Boone's-Fire, 2 bottles. Now, I had the cholesterol problem solved. Try a little wine. But I had to lose weight. You see, my belly was out to here. And hard as I could try, I just couldn't find a way to lose some weight. Now, at the time, I was a Toastmaster. And I remember being asked a question once saying, if you had a choice of losing weight, would you choose working out or taking a diet pill? And I had said working out. But as I was driving home, I was thinking, what workout can I do that is guaranteed to have me lose weight? Then I thought about it. I walked home into the house, and there I saw my wife. Her pretty brown eyes. Ooh, the house smelled good with the aroma from her cooking. And you have to understand that my wife prides herself on making homemade meals each and every night. Everything is from scratch. The tomato sauce for the spaghetti. Well, that's spaghetti sauce. She takes her tomatoes. She puts them in the freezer. She does things with them. And then she'll add the other vegetables when it's time to make her tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce. Oh, her shrimp Alfredo and everything else she makes is just good. I walked into that house. I looked at my wife, looked deeply into those beautiful brown eyes, and I said, honey, I want you to know that your cooking is the absolute worst that I've ever tasted. Now, I don't know what surprised me more. The speed that I showed getting out of that house, or the skill my wife showed in picking up that cast iron skillet and swinging it at my head. She chased me down one side of the street, back up the other side, down Finkel, over the Grand River. She chased me for what I felt like was an hour. Within that hour, I lost 10 pounds. It took a call to my mama, her mama, our neighbors, and yes, our priest, to finally calm my wife down. I was then given the green light that it would be safe to come back home. I came home, tipping in kind of slow, making sure everything was okay. And she says, it's okay, sweetheart. Come on in. I walked in, and again, ooh, that kitchen was smelling good. I sat down. Al Green was singing on the radio. I happened to notice a jar of honey on the table, and the top was off. And Al was singing something about the power of love, and love can make you do right, and love can make you do wrong. And suddenly a voice went off in the back of my head, and that voice said, run. Just then, I started to run, and I just ducked. For some reason I can't explain, but it was a good thing that I did, because I felt the heat of something going above my head. Now, some of you may not understand the relationship with Al Green and honey on the table, but see, back in the 1970s, Al Green had a nickname. It was called Hot Grits Greens. And what my wife threw at me were grits. And the significance of the honey, as all you people from down south know, is to make sure that those grits stick. Well, it was advised that maybe for my safety, it would be best if my wife and I were separated and split. Because I had asked her once, I says, baby, I've told you I'm sorry. Why is it that you keep trying to hit me with that cast iron skillet? She says, baby, because I don't think you understand. On Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I swing that skillet with my right hand. On Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, I swing that skillet with my left hand. And on Sunday, I use both hands. And baby, look at these arms. One day, I just want to have the experience of taking that cast iron skillet and hitting you upside your nappy head. So I lost 50 pounds. I also lost my wife. But I have a surefire way that if you want to lose weight and get your cholesterol down, try the Boone's Farm and try that cast iron skillet diet. My stories are done, and I have no more to say.
So, dude, you are lucky to be alive. For real. You are lucky to be alive. Agree. You're lucky she can connect one time. Well, let's go back a little bit. So, how goes it, man?
It goes well. Life is good.
I can stop laughing at that. I'm real. Between that and up, the first story. But how goes it? You doing okay?
I'm doing very well.
Good, man. We're progressing under you, man. That's a good thing. We're getting it. We're getting it. So tell me about, tell me some of the stuff you've been doing.
Well, I've been telling. In fact, the first story that I told, actually did a version of that at the Ark. I actually had yesterday, I promoted our book, Grown Folk Talkings, Hush, that was actually edited by Ivory Williams, but that includes a lot of stories from DABS members. Went over very well. So we did the book talkers, book lovers event at the Detroit Public Library yesterday, and that was a blast, and that book, promoting that book went over very well.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a
It
lot
was
of
a lot of fun.
Yes, it
There's a lot of
was.
people there. Probably about, I think he said 150 people almost.
Yes.
It seemed like it was about that many. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of people came there. And it was good to get our book promoted. That was a good part. So just so you know, he got up there and did a couple things. And as he did it, you know, everybody at first was kind of like, okay, where's he going with this? But as he went on, then everybody kind of like, oh, okay. And then they really got into it. So it worked out really well. So how you like being a storyteller, man?
I don't like being a storyteller. I love being a storyteller. Everybody should, at some point in their life, find something that they love to do. Something that they will be willing to do for free. Something they just can't wait to do. Telling stories is my love. I love telling stories. If you talk to my mother, I've said this before, she'll tell you I've been telling stories ever since I was a little kid. Why didn't you get your homework done? What happened to your homework and all of that? How was it only 2 people in the house, but you don't know how something got broken? I had lots of stories, I had lots of experience, but also one of the best things about being a storyteller is getting the material. A lot of that just comes from listening, also comes from doing some research, but yeah, I just love being a teller.
I'm not kidding. Boy, you sit up and read for hours and you think of stuff and then you material and you go like, no, you know, and then you scratch it out, and like, no, that's not gonna work. And then you start again, and then you sit up and you go, nah, that's not gonna work. And then you find yourself actually changing some of it as you go along. And I tell people all the time, I said, I really don't have an idea what I'm gonna say till I actually get to start talking. And then it comes together for some odd reason, by grace of God, that it just all fits and stuff. But the pre-stuff is the stuff that just drives you insane. At least it does for me. So that kind of deal. So the first iPhone, hey, you know something? We got something in common here. The first iPhone, you. See, you did something at the beginning of like we did when we were kids. We came up with something at the beginning also. We invented Monday Night Football. We invented Sunday Night Baseball. We're the ones that invented that. The Matrix move in the movie The Matrix. We invented that. And then you come with the iPhone. I was sitting there going like, oh yeah, I heard part of this crew. Absolutely. We're inventors at the end of the day. So look, tell everybody how to get in contact with you.
Well, if you always reach out to DABS. You can see the sign back there. We would love to hear from you. If you want to call me personally, that's simple. You can always go to LarryCastleberryJr.com. But the best way to reach me is through DABS. And I'd love to tell stories and share stories with you.
Great. It's always good having you, man. You know how it goes, man.
All right.
It's not a fella's time, man. We do our thing, man. So everybody hang on a minute. We'll be right back. After you hear from our sponsor for this session. It's the Hannon Center. You'll love it. Trust me, this is a great place. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. Be right back. This next guy, oh Lord, something else. Ivory, I'm gonna get you for this. I'm gonna get you. Trust me, I'm gonna get you, Ivory. I'm gonna get you for this. So he's a storyteller from way back, and I first met him the first day I came in to be a storyteller. I was asked to come along and become a storyteller. And when I first got there, they were having such a serious, robust conversation. And we were sitting in a circle, and everybody was kind of going back and forth about stuff. They were shooting ideas, and people kind of arguing about it, but they were shooting ideas back and forth. Right in the middle of this, everybody took a breath, this guy takes out his bag and shakes it and goes, "I have a story." And I'm sitting there going like, dude, really? In the middle of this? And he began to tell a story, and it calmed everybody else in the room down. And I went, absolutely, that's what I want to do. And it wasn't nothing in the bag he had. It was a bag that just had to be sitting there. And he said it was something in there, and he was shaking it like there was something in it. And he had everybody on the edge of their seats. Let me tell you, you're going to love this. James, the storyteller, oh, just tell stories forever and ever and ever. James.
From the dawn of creation to the formation of the very first light, giving star, an embodiment of a divine idea from the mind of an omnipotent, loving God. Yes, my people, that's what we are. And so now it becomes my task to express to you in a way so that you know it is true. It is time to step into your God-given function. For the world is waiting for you. Hi, my name is James Graham, and I'm a storyteller. And you know what? Before I start, there's a little something that I just want to do. It's almost kind of like, it takes after one of the traditions of the West Africans. I'm gonna say Ago, I want you to say Ame, and okay, we'll try it. I say Ago, you say Me. Ago!
Amen.
All right, y'all heard that it was a fan I made because Tone don't want to talk too much behind the camera. But they came through. Okay, now, one more time. This time, when I say, okay, I want y'all to say, I say, okay?
I say.
All right, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Don't even say that, y'all. Yeah, I want you to kind of just visualize. I want you to go with me for a little bit. I want you to kind of dwell into your imagination. What we're doing is I'm watering a plant. As I'm watering that plant, I'm trying to feed that plant, just in the same way that the Creator has fed me through the love and through the care, the people poured into my body and important to my being. Okay, and in the same way, you know, as I pour into this, I want you to kind of repeat, because I'm gonna end up saying what I'm gonna say, and you're gonna say, "Oh, say you got that, okay?" And I want to call out the name of today, James W. Graham. That was my father. And I also want you, in your heart and your mind, to call out the name of your loved ones, the ones that poured into you. Okay? I want you to kind of call that out in your heart and mind, and I want you to kind of feel it into the air. You ready? James W. Graham. Okay.
Shit.
Thank you. Thank you. Larry came through for me. I appreciate it. Tone didn't come through that time, but that's all right. Tone's still my boy. I like Tone. I like Tone. I don't talk about Tone no more. You know what? Now, I had to kind of start right there because I want to start with an East African story. You see, a man and a lion walking through one of the great green forests of Africa. They were debating who was greater, man or the lion. They came to a clearing. They saw a statue of a great Maasai warrior conquering the lion. The man says, "See there, that proves it. That proves that man is greater than the lion. In the statue, the man is conquering the lion. That proves it, my friend. The debate is over." And the lion says, "My friend, that proves nothing. In the statue, the man is conquering the lion because man made the statue. If a lion made the statue, the lion would conquer the man. My friend, how a story is told always depends on who the storyteller is." It's important for me to get that out so you can kind of feel where I'm coming from as I finish with the rest of the remainder of the stories. I had to kind of tell that story because that was from one of the first storytellers that I experienced, a storyteller who is near and dear to my heart. As time passes, things change, and with age and health, some things are changing with him. So I really want to kind of keep his memory going and keep his legacy going and keep that love going by telling that story and by feeling them in my heart and sending up prayers for him as I tell that. You see, because they made the people before our parents and all that, they made us who and what we are. And my father was a storyteller in his own right. James W. Graham, I gotta tell you, first time I tried to do what I'm about to do before was with this same group. Yeah, it was Larry, Tone, Ivory, and myself. We were at, it was one of the centers in Detroit, off of Myers. I forgot the name of that, but the first storyteller, Baba Jamal, told me, never try to tell a story that you got to remember word for word, because sometimes you'll forget and you'll be stuck in the middle. And I decided, well, that's all right. I'm going to try to do what I want to do anyway. My father used to always do this little thing, if, you know, and Ivory, one of the storytellers who's with us in spirit today, you know, he's in Ohio somewhere. Ivory said, look, if you make a mistake, just keep acting like act like you didn't make the mistake. Well, I made a mistake, I forgot it in the middle, and he said, Ivory said, never apologize, and I apologize, but you know what though? I apologize, but that's all right. This time I'm gonna try it again, because I messed up the first time, and some things you gotta let go and you gotta try again. So this is my effort to try again. You see, if my father used to come in the middle of the night, he'd kind of go through his little portrait. You know, he and my Uncle Fillmore, I named this after Uncle Fillmore. This is Phil, this is my bad boy. So I got a hold on the Phil. Okay, but they both love it, you see. If you can keep your head when all about you losing this and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, and make allowances for the down too. If you can wait and not get tired of waiting, or being lied, don't tell them lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, yet don't look too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet your triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if you can dare to watch the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and bend down and build them up with worn out tools. If you can dare to make one heap of all your wins and risk them on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word of your loss, you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to hold their turn long after they're gone. And so hold on, ain't nothing left in you except the will that says, hold on! If you could walk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, no, lose the common touch. Neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you. All men count you, but none too much. If you can feel that unforgiving minute of 60 seconds worth of the distance run, then yours is the earth and all that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. That was It by Rudyard Kipling. And I know it's kind of wild. My father used to kind of get off on that, you know, like, and then tell me that. And it kind of sparked a love for poetry, and it kind of changed a whole lot with me. And actually, it has made me a lot of who I am. And what I started doing was, I started trying to use poetry and stories to teach my son and my grandson and all of that, and you know, still to this day. But it kind of came out a little different, you know. Now there's one, well, sometimes you gotta kind of, you know, kind of go from some of the older crew and kind of look back, and you know, you kind of look at the way they talk. Now, I think it was this brother, St. Augustine. St. Augustine said, "In all ways we must spread the gospel, and only when necessary use words." It's kind of wild for a storyteller, because storytellers love using words, and you know what? And words are really kind of a powerful thing, you know, because it's all vibration. And you know, I'm a science teacher. I was a science teacher. You know, the whole vibration thing. And that's why I started with the science. But I ain't gonna get you deep into that. Even though I want to go, but I'm not gonna get you deep into that. I want to kind of get on, stay with the point. So I decided I was going to use my words and maybe some actions to teach my son a lot of things. I remember one day I told my son, he was about maybe about 18 months at the time, maybe a little bit younger. And, you know, it was Joseph, it was from the road dog too, you know, Joseph boy. And I said, Joseph, today, you know, we're gonna learn to use the bathroom, you know. I remember before when I told him, you know, we're gonna learn to use the bathroom, we're gonna learn to sit on the pot like the adults, to sit on the toilet, real toilet. He said, okay, Daddy. I said, yeah. I said, we're gonna sit on the toilet, it's a big day. Okay, Daddy. So I said, come on, let's go. We're gonna sit on the toilet. Gotta go, yeah. Oh yeah, Daddy, okay. So on the way to the bathroom, he said, wait a minute, Daddy, wait a minute. So he went back. I said, what you gonna get? He said, I gotta get something. And he got a book. And then he went to the toilet. So, you know, it's kind of wild. See, nowadays, I guess the kids would have to go get the cell phones or tablet or something, you know, because, in terms of, like, well, y'all don't get it. Okay, but anyway, okay, but that day, I decided to take my son, okay, so I'm going to show you how to use the bathroom and not just sit on the toilet. I'm going to show you how to urinate like a man. Oh, okay, Daddy. So we went to the bathroom. I said, okay, you sit there. No, okay. So sit right there. Oh, okay, then don't move. I got you, Daddy. I said, okay. So, I'm standing there, my son sit there, and I kind of, unzip, you know what I'm saying? Unzip, and kind of get started. And my son sitting there, he goes, water! And he gets up and he starts running over with his hand. And I go, no! And he's trying to put his hand in the water. I said, no! So I'm moving like this and saying, get back! And then my son does this little, and he's a D tackle now, does this little move, boy. He kind of gets to my right leg and he spins around and he comes around with his left leg just like Aaron, what's his name? Turns around and just spin my water, no! And I'm like this, and he's still reaching for the water and all that. Well, after it was all over, I don't know about, sometimes when you get started, you can't stop until some stuff, that's one of those things, you can't just kind of cut off. So after we stopped, after it was all over, I had to do a little cleaning up, Sometimes after some lessons like that, you have to clean up a little bit. But you know what though, see, there's I don't know, different ways of teaching. And we got to use what we got when we got it, and we got to use what we got when we got it. And I want you to just kind of be like, like Charlie Parker, you see. Long time ago, the whole world was in fact, there was trouble all around. Everyone was at odds because there was no solution to be found. Then someone found it. A solution that was real and true. Well, what they found was that special gift that the Creator placed in you. So I want you to take a note from Charlie Parker, that great saxophone king. See, Charlie said, what he said was, don't play your music, let your music play you. See, if you take a note from Charlie Parker, that great saxophone king, and you play your music, you'll watch the whole world sing. And everything will come together. And maybe you won't have to clean up so much after you finish teaching and all that kind of stuff. And okay, I don't know how all that fit together, but y'all kind of go over, brother. And remember this. When the Creator made the world, He put differences in every tree, plant, animal, and season. He did that for a purpose. For each one of us, He has His own special reason. So hear what I say next, and hold this in your heart, because this is true. Every life is precious, including the ones given to you. But before I even kind of get into the last story, there's one thing I got to tell you. I am working on a project with the storytellers. Actually, we started with the storytellers. I'm working with the National Lifers Association, and these are brothers who have made mistakes in their lives, and big mistakes, and so now they have to pay for them, and they realize that they have kind of messed up our society, and they're trying to reach across the bars to try to repair some of the breaches, and they're doing it through their stories, through letters. And I've got a group of letters that are written by them, and they are addressed mainly to our youth. And basically, I did this, don't do what I do, did letters, that kind of thing. And I want them to write the letters because, you see, the more our children read, the better they get at reading. And I figure maybe this will be a source. So I'm putting this out for you guys. And for anyone who knows of a source someplace that we can use these letters, I want you to kind of get back and tell me. And as you know, and I know sometimes there's things that happen. You know, I was looking at this. DABS was established in 1991. I remember back in '94, we had a big convention here. It was a storytelling, National Association of Black Storytellers convention, and part of it, they had it at the State Theater, and they had me on there. I was supposed to come out, and they wanted me to do a little thing singing. Me singing. I said, okay. I tried to do it. You know, they did that because they heard me singing a song one time. It's a different thing singing a song, but I tried anyway. So my part was about Black Bottom, and they wanted me to come out and do a rendition of Dream Castle. You remember that? Now, I only heard Dream Castle actually I heard it by Nat King Cole, but everybody else, the orchestra, the band that they had, they was used to Eckstein, you know, singing that. But, you know, Billy Eckstein sang a little bit different. He had a big wild voice, but Nat King Cole, you know, his version was, our little dream castle, with every dream gone, is lonely and silent, the shades are all drawn, and our heart is heavy as I gaze upon the cottage for sale. So, you know, it still sounds kind of funny. But anyway, I was trying to work with this song. We'd practice, and we did all this little stuff, and I still wasn't feeling good with it. And I kept saying, oh, give me that. And they said, no, you gotta do it. We gotta have somebody. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So the night came. $50 a ticket, man. That's what they was charging. $50 a ticket for everybody. I had on this suit. I was looking sharp. Y'all should have seen me. And I tried. And the band now, we never really kind of got together. They knew that if they kind of came in too loud, they would throw me off key, and I was going after that off key. I was fighting to get back, and they wouldn't let me get out of it. So I was still nervous, and so the night came. Young lady before me went, she was just beautiful. She was a speech and audiologist, auditory or whatever therapist, and she was beautiful. And she sang beautiful. It was a little Castilian guitar. It was awesome, man. It was the first time she sang the whole song in front, and it was just wonderful. And the stage director said, okay, go. And I said, what? He said, go. And I've been listening to the program, and it just didn't sound like the right part of the program for me to go. He said, go. And everybody told me to do what the stage director told me. The band director said, if there's a mistake, just keep acting like you never, you know, it was supposed to be real. And the lady in the background, she was the narrator in dark. Nobody could see her, but I could see her a little bit. And so he said, go. So I came on, and the light hit me. I couldn't see nobody, but you could tell everybody was out there. You could tell the place was full. And the light hit me, the spotlight was falling. And I saw her, she stood up and she said, go back! Go back! And I looked around, I looked at the band director, and he said, like that, I don't know what this, and I looked back at the guy, the stage director, and he said, go. I didn't think I was supposed to go, but I went on anyway, and I grabbed the mic, and the lady stood back, go back, go back. And I grabbed it, and you know how, like, when you start, our little dream castle, and you know how sometimes when you say it, and it sounds differently, well, it sounded differently. It sounded horrible, y'all. It just sounded like I was screaming, oh, little dream castle. And you know, I was hoping the band would kind of come up and drown me out because I was dying up there. Well, every dream gone, she's gone. And she's gone, oh, Lord. I forgot who it was, but she left DABS. She hadn't come back after that day. Anyway, so after I finished, I came off the stage, and I looked at the guy that worked there. I said, is there a door? He says, to the right. It's to the back. I said, good. I went out the back door. I jumped in my car. I went home. I was so glad because I had spent $100 for my mom and my wife to come, but they decided they weren't going to come because they said, I ain't going to come. You spend $100 on me and get nothing to eat because I want nothing to eat. And, you know, women, they want something to eat. So I got and went home, and I was just devastated because it sounded horrible. And I was just didn't know what to do. Then the next morning, I woke up and I saw the new pattern up on the wall. We just moved into the house, and I was thinking, well, they still gotta love me because I'm the only one to work and I pay for this, and so they gotta love me. And so I went to work, and the sun came up, and the whole day wasn't working. It was an extra day. It was on a Saturday, and the rest of the day went all right. But like I said, some of them folks that was in DABS, they left, they didn't come back. And it was horrible, and for the longest time, it really kind of devastated me. But sometimes when bad things happen, you gotta let it go. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was behind you gotta let it go, and you gotta keep going. And so, I gotta let that go. so now, the sun still comes up tomorrow. Sun will come up tomorrow. And that's it. Okay. Now, a lot has been said, and I hope it was all understood. All that's left for me to say is, y'all be good. And you have to clean up after you teach something. That's it, y'all.
Oh, have mercy.
You gotta listen.
There's something wrong. There is. There's
Yeah.
something wrong with you. I've been saying it for years. We've known each other for, 10, 15 years now, something like that. And I said it the first day, I said, there's something wrong with that brother. Like, y'all better watch that brother. There's something wrong with him. And I'll say it now again. There's something wrong with you, man. So, how goes it, James?
Going pretty good.
James, the storyteller.
Everything's going pretty good.
Really? Feeling all right?
Yeah, no complaints, no complaints.
Telling stories, doing the thing.
Well, you know what? I gotta tell you what I'm doing now. This is big. My son brought me a saxophone for my birthday, a student saxophone. My grandson, Smokey, he's playing saxophone now in the band. 6th grade, so he decided he wants to be a music teacher. So now he's teaching me how to play the saxophone. Yeah, okay, we got it going on. You ought to see it. We got a piano at home, a little keyboard, and we got a guitar and drums, and a granddaughter in North Carolina that's playing the violin, and a granddaughter in North Carolina that's playing keyboards too, and the guitar. So, we got it going on.
I understand that music thing.
Yeah.
I got it in my house, the youngest one.
Right.
Jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It helps them, doesn't it? It helps them
But it's
think.
like, really? That's what we're getting this time?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, I get you. I understand.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So a saxophone.
Saxophone.
So that's your thing. But I guess I gotta ask this question. So how's the wife taking all of this?
Oh, you know.
That brings out like noise.
Well, it's a different thing. Like you just gotta. Well,
I got you.
It's saxophone.
You trying to be nice about it. I got you. Because she's gonna watch this.
Yeah, I know.
She's watching this. So I know you. You're trying to be nice. It's okay.
Yeah, and
I got you.
And Larry told you about the cast iron stuff and all that. The skillets and stuff.
That's the thing too. I'm like,
Yeah,
you're trying to die.
Yeah,
What you got?
But no, you know what?
Both of you got stories and stuff, Dave.
Yeah, she's handling it. She's handling it.
So glad I can tell stories.
No more cast irons.
No cast irons.
You ain't get hit.
I make as much noise I can tell be quiet. But anyway, so the bathroom deal, man.
The bath. Oh, yeah. But that was with Smoke. See, I got Smokey. That's my grandson. And Smoke. That's my son. So Smoke. I call him Smoke because when he was younger, you give him something, he always say, "Can I smoke?"
It's a good
Smoke. Smoke. That's what he said.
That's dope.
Yeah, I'm kidding. Okay, but
I got you.
Oh, you got it.
And smoking something up.
So yes,
That's my guy.
Yeah, that's
Smokey's my guy.
That's my dog.
That's my boy. He's part of his production group, and he does. He's only.
Well, we're not now.
He's 11. That's right. And he's been with us for about 4 years. He's been doing stuff.
Yeah.
He's electronically fit.
Oh, that's
the
my
whole
dog.
bit. Camera wise, the whole 9 yards. He's something else. So he's one of our DABS people we're actually bringing up right from the ground. Blankville Jazz started out. She's been with us since she was little. Now she's doing that stuff like that. So we gotta keep bringing them up.
Yeah,
That's what's up, man. We gotta keep doing
That's
that.
what's up. That's what's
Keep
up.
telling everybody. I say, we gotta bring younger people to the table, that kind of deal,
Yeah.
so that because we're not gonna be here forever. We want to be, but even though we're not, Right, we're not, but we gotta keep doing that. We gotta keep bringing different people on so we can keep this going and keep stories being told. We gotta pass them down, that kind of deal. And you pass them down with your initiative, pass them on to the people to tell their stories. So
Yeah, oh yeah.
that works out, man.
Yeah. It does.
Things work out. Look at you, man. You doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Gotta keep
Doing so much, you gotta keep a notepad down.
Well, you know what? But the thing about it, say you keep a notepad, but then you lose the notepad. so you and then you put it in your cell phone and you forget how to call it back up, on those little things and stuff. So but we find a way.
Absolutely. So, just so you know, James is, we have this joke between us, and our joke between us is that he goes, look man, you don't have to hold my hand, this, that, and that. He says, it's a shame, you gotta hold somebody's hand. So, what I do is I always make sure, out of everybody else, that I call him and I tell him 3 or 4 times going into the project. I'll call him 3 or 4 times for the project. And then I'll send him a bunch of emails. And then and then I call him the day before, or because if I don't, then he'll go, I forgot. Now one time, it's all the time. I do this all the time. So tell everybody how to get in contact.
You can check me out at jamesgrahamstoryteller.com. James Graham, and you know what? I got a new thing coming up. Actually, it's stories behind the stories. It's a new, it's going to be a new, it would have been a CD, it's a download. You can kind of get it, you'll be able to get it off of Amazon and places like that. But if you go to jamesgrahamstoryteller.com, you kind of go in the store. That'll have tree stories from grandchildren, stories of the spirit, and the stories of Mali. And then pretty soon it'll be stories behind the stories. I'm excited about these. And that should be out pretty soon, maybe about a month and a half. jamesgrahamstoryteller.com. Y'all check it out.
That's fine, man. See, the told you always busy. Because see, the brothers, how we do the fellas, how we come together, do our thing. So that kind of seal. Hey, stay tuned. We have a little bit more for you. After this brief message about Detroit Association of Black Storytellers. We'll be right back.
Finally here, grown folks talking. Hush. Stories by Tellers from DABS, put together by Ivory Williams. I just found out that this project's actually been in the works for many, many years, but it's finally here. It starts off with, what are stories? Stories are something that happened. It can be something that happened in the past, something that's happening right now, or something that's going to happen in the future. Stories can be good. Stories can be bad. Stories can be happy. Stories can be sad. Stories can be true, as Ivory Williams says, all of his are. Or stories can be made up, as Ivory Williams says, none of his are. But the key thing about stories is they must be told. And in this book, the stories are told. We hear about Stagger Lee. Oh, for those of us who are seasoned, we know the song. But in it is a lesson about avoiding doing things in the dark, about maybe being home with your wife and your children rather than at establishments that you shouldn't be, about the dangers of alcohol. There's a story about a chicken run and how a person who drives for a living makes a relationship with some chickens on their way to the slaughterhouse. There's a story about whose grandma are you? About a woman who doesn't want to be a grandma, but when she talks to a young man, she learns the joy and the power of being a grandmother. Then there's a story about a man who decides he doesn't want to be the healthiest man in the graveyard. I kind of do a little rendition of that to myself today. And about a man who tries the cast iron skillet diet. And it finishes up with a story about, thank God for grandparents, about a mother who hears about a current event, makes a comment, and the children are glad they got their grandparents. So go out, buy a copy,
Come to DABS. Only $15, bring a little storytelling to you.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that about Dad's book signing deal. I guarantee you our book is something else. You'll enjoy it. Do purchase it. It's $15. We got it on our website. Or you can send us an email. We'll mail you a copy. Trust me, you'll love it. Hey, so a lot of people don't know, but I'm going to put it out there, and some people know. And I had a lot of people help me through some things. I had knee replacement surgery in January, and I want to take and tell something that happened with that. First of all, let me give big props to a Dr. Perry Green or Coralwell Health, which is formerly Beaumont Hospital, and Michigan Orthopedic. He's a doctor for them. He's one of the top surgeons in the Midwest area. He did a phenomenal job. What an amazing guy. I owe everything to him. It's just unbelievable. But going into this and how we met, is somebody told me to go to him. And they recommended him and said, hey, go check this guy out. So I go and walk in the office and I sit down. Now, I've been having some problems in my mind about doing surgery. So when you go into surgery, people don't understand and don't realize you're not guaranteed something for surgery. You're not guaranteed to come out of it. You pray and hope that you do, but actuality you don't know. So we get in the office and he goes, hey, I'm Dr. Perry Green, et cetera, and he goes through his whole thing. Right off the bat, I said, hey, how you doing? Listen here, man. I said, my main thing is I'm worried about blood clots in my legs because I've had 3 friends go get something done to their leg and they died from a blood clot. He looked at me standing there. He was still standing there with his hand stuck out. And he goes, hi, I'm Dr. Perry Green. And I go, hey, how you doing? So, but you understand what I'm saying though, right? And he's still standing there like this, and he goes, right, I'm Dr. Perry Green. I got that. Did you get what I'm saying? And he just stood there looking like a deer in headlights. And finally clicked in my head like, dude, calm down for a minute before you start in. And I said, hi, I'm Anthony Ross. Everybody calls me Tone, et cetera, and we go through that, we shake hands, and we finally sit down. He goes, so addressing your issue here while we're getting started. He said, and I'll get to that in a minute. He said, but here's the process. He said, you'll do some things, and he said, we'll take some tests, and we'll go through some stuff. He said, and we'll get through what we get through, and then I'll get the surgery, and your surgery day is not for down the line. Now, this is back in October. I had to wait till January because his list is so long and he's so in demand, and I see why now. But our first initial bid was kicked off, was just crazy. And I apologized to him and I said, look, I'm sorry. And he goes, I understand you're on edge. That's a concern for you. And I said, you better believe it. So he turned and he goes, well, let's talk about some other things. What's your knee like? How's it going? That kind of deal. I'm in your office. My knee's in pain. I need you to do something. What other reason would I be here? And he just laughed and he goes, oh, this is gonna be good. He said our whole relationship is gonna be great. And I said, oh, okay. As long as you handle the blood clot, didn't tell me about that, I'm good. And he goes, okay, no problem. We in our session, that kind of deal, we go down the line. So now we get to getting down the line, towards January. A lady calls me and says, here's what you gotta do the day before the surgery. Tell me to take all this stuff, to give me all this stuff to take. And the lady goes, my surgery is at 7 o'clock in the morning. It takes me 30, 35 minutes to get to the place. And the lady goes, the first thing out of my mouth is, make sure you get a good night's sleep. And I go, okay, that's easy. I can do that. Then she says, all the things that were given to you. And I said, right. She said, you have to take that before coming. So now my mind is on, I'll take it the night before I go to bed. And she goes, no. She says, you're to take the one pill at 12 o'clock at night. Okay. Then you take the other pill at 1 o'clock. You drink this pre-op Ensure at 2:30. And then you take this last pill before 3 o'clock. And you take this last pill right around 3. My mind after that was like, okay, and I turned her and said, and then she ends with, make sure you get a good night's sleep. And I go, wait a minute. And I said, hold on, lady. I said, how am I supposed to sleep? And you got me up all night long. My surgery's at 7. I have to be done by 3. And then I turn around and got to get up about 4 to sit down and get ready to come to the hospital by 5, because you had to be there by 5. And I said, tell me how I'm supposed to sleep again? Where's the good night rest come in at? Just tell me so I know. I caught her so off guard. You heard dead silence on the phone. And I literally took my phone and went, you still there? And she goes, yes. Well, just make sure you get a good night's sleep. Really? So we hang up the phone. Some time goes by, and the day before my surgery, another lady calls. And she goes, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm from Corwell Health, Beaumont Hospital, for Dr. Perry Green. She goes, I'm here to give you your last pre-surgery instructions. Sure. Make sure you get a good night rest. I went, in my mind, I went, you gotta be kidding me. Here we go again. She says all the stuff that you gotta take, and she ran through all of it. Take this at 12, take this at 1, take this at 2, take this at 2:30, and the last thing you gotta take before 3 o'clock, and you're done drinking water or anything after 3 o'clock, you can't have anything else. And make sure you get a good night's sleep. Okay, let me try this with you. Ma'am, I just need to ask you a quick question. She said, oh, sure, fine, go ask. Ask away. Ask anything you want, I got number time. How am I to get a good night's sleep? Make that make sense. Dead silence. I didn't realize she put me on mute. When she came back, she was still laughing. And she goes, Mr. Moss, wait a minute. And I said, put me on mute maybe so you can laugh out loud. And she goes, yes, I'm sorry. And I go, it's okay. I just want to make sure we understand, we're on the same page here. You want me to get a good night's sleep, but you want me to do all this at those time frames. But then again, you want me to good night's sleep. Sure we will. Not a problem. Let's fast forward a little bit. Surgery day. I do all this stuff ahead of time. And I go, okay. I get up, do all this stuff. I get to the hospital now. I get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and people are looking all crazy because everybody's got to be there at 5. And I go, fine. She takes me in the back, has me put the gown on with the back out, and I take my stuff off. She says, fold your stuff up and put it in the bag. And I go, oh, really? And she goes, yeah. I said, oh, okay, no problem. And fold my stuff up, and she says, take everything off. And I go, what do you mean take everything off? She said, take everything off. And I go, lady, I get you when you take my shirt off and put the gown on, but why gotta take my underwear off? You're working on my knee. Not anything else, just that. She goes, you gotta take that off though. So we go back and forth about 5-10 minutes. And I go, okay, lady, you know. And I finally turned and I said, look, ma'am, nothing personal, but I don't know you like that. I said, I'm not taking my underwear off. And she goes, well, you can't have surgery unless you take them off. You need to explain exactly why. And she goes in this thing about how it's sterile and contamination and that kind of deal. And I go, okay, fine. We move along, and they ask you a bunch of questions. Before surgery, if you've been in surgery, everybody knows. Everybody walks in and asks you the same set of questions. Well, it's my turn now. So she goes, did you take this? Yep, took it at 12. Did you take this? Yep, took that at 1. You take this? Yep, I took that at 1:30. Drink this? Yep, I drank that at 2:30. She goes, okay. So you take that? I said, yeah. And you haven't had anything after 3 o'clock? I said, well, technically, I took the last sip of water at 3:15 in the morning. And she goes, that's fine. I said, okay, I took the last bit at 3:15 in the morning. The next lady comes in, she has the same thing. We go through that, and we get to the thing, and I go, well, technically, I took the last pill at 3:15. And the nurse now was taking my blood pressure on this side. And she turns and goes, really? And I said, you said be honest. I'm being honest. 3:15, I took the last sip of water. I took the last thing at 3:15. She comes in and gives me another pill. It's 6:40 in the morning. And I get it, and she hands it to me, and I'm sitting here, because I got you sitting on the bed. And I'm sitting here, and I said, you said I had to stop taking stuff at 3 o'clock. I took some at 3:15, it's 6:40. What am I doing here? She goes, you need that. Okay, fine. So I take it, drink it, give it back. The next lady comes in, she goes, hey, how you doing? I'm an anesthesiologist, this, that, no. How you doing? She goes, I'm gonna ask you a serious question. I said, the same question before? She goes, yeah. I said, okay, no problem. She goes, hey, you take this at such and such a time? Took that at such and such a time. You take that? Yep, took that at such and such a time. You take this? Yep, took that at 1:30. Yep, I took this at 2. Yep, I took this at 3. Actually, I didn't stop drinking water at 3. I took a pill at 3:15, and I just had some at 6:40. The nurse again goes, you gotta be kidding me. She says, are you serious? And I said, you told me to be honest. I'm being honest. And she goes, excluding that. And I said, gotta tell the truth, don't want any mistakes. The lady looks at me, she goes, 6:40? I just had it. She made me take it. Another lady standing there, she goes, yeah, I gave you that. Yeah, she made me take it. Don't blame me. She told me I gotta take it. And she goes, okay, fine. And she said, it's okay. Now my blood pressure goes through the roof because I'm wired for sound one, and I'm panicking, and I had a panic attack. And I was like, listen. And she says, your thing's through the roof. We might have to hold up. What's the problem? She goes, you just gotta chill out. And I go, okay. And I said, well, let me try and chill out. This, that, no. Dr. Green walks in. Hey, Tom, how's it going? Hey, Doc, how's it doing? This, that, Nolly. Answer the same set of questions. And I go, okay, we get to 3 o'clock. And I go, yup. I say, but I take some at 3:15. And then that lady made me drink something at 6:40. And he stands and looks at me and goes, right. And I go, you ask the questions, I'll give you the answers. That lady made me drink something at 3:40. And he goes, the lady goes, she said, well, first of all, that's the last pill you need to take concerning your blood clots. Oh, really now? She goes, yeah. My blood pressure dropped like a rock. She goes, oh my God, did that calm you down? She said, your blood pressure went way down just that quick. I said, that's all I've been worried about all the time. He goes, look, man, we talked about this, and I told you what the deal is. He said, you're fine. I go, okay, I got you. He gets ready to turn around and walk out the door. He said, I'll see you in there. You know you're gonna be fine. Sure. No problem. I said, hold on a second now, before you leave. He goes, what's the matter? I said, just ask some questions. He goes, okay, fine, what's that? You have a good night's sleep last night? Yeah. You and the wife get along? Yeah, you had no arguments? He goes, no. I said, you eat good last night? Yeah. You got about at least 8 hours, right? And he goes, yeah, he's looking at me like I'm crazy. I said, look, man. So I grab his hand, and I hold it up, and I say, hold your hand up. And he held it up, and I said, yep, steady. There we go, we're good to go. I said, you right, I'll see you in there. And he goes, dude, you're a mess. He said, I'll see you when I get in there. I said, look, man, I said, you don't understand something. I don't want you to get in there and get in the middle of the surgery while you're taking my knee out and thinking about put the new knee in. I said, I don't want you to get in there and think about something that you and your wife argued about last night. Because that means when you think about it while you're doing this, you're going to yank my knee out, who she thinks she is, this, that, and the other, throw it over there, here's nudie, then slam my nudie in. I said, I don't need that. I said, I'm just trying to make sure you're okay. He goes, okay. So he stops and goes, is that why when I walked in the office, you were at my wall looking at all my credentials? I said, absolutely, dude. I said, I'm checking you out thoroughly just like you're checking me out. I said, this is our last minute check. You right, I see you in here. And he goes, no problem. We get in there, and everybody comes in with basically like a hazmat suit type thing they're wearing. They got these hoods on, all these things on, that kind of deal. And I'm the only one in there with nothing. And I go to the lady, I said, where's mine? I said, why has everybody got this on? Where's my suit? I said, don't I get to put a hood on with the big window? And she goes, no, that's so everybody be stirred. I said, oh, okay. I said, I feel like I'm a science project or something right now. And she goes, man, if you don't lay your big head down. And she turned around, she threw the thing at me, and she said, go to sleep. Surgery is unreal. It's something that you go through, you just never know. I had to tell those two stories because those things are something that's totally amazing. I would recommend anybody to go get it done. Make sure you find a reputable doctor to do it. Trust me, you'll be fine. Let's change some things here, change directions here. Everybody knows that I drive a truck for a living, and I see a lot of different things out there. And I happen to see, just since I've been back, just so happened, I happen to go to a farm, an apple farm, and I had to pick up crates of apples. And at the apple farm, I learned something in the apple farm I thought was absolutely amazing. In the apple farms, because they got them in warehouses and barns and stuff like that, they tend to attract rodents. And when I get there, the guy opens the door up, and they put this conveyor thing in the back of your truck, and they put it on there, and that's how the things get on there. The guys put them on the pallets, and then there's a guy with a pallet jack, he rolls it to the front. But when he first opened the door, I saw these rats running around. And I go, hey man, wait a minute, you're not putting that on my truck. And he goes, hold on a second, just hold on. I didn't know there's a thing with muskrats and that kind of thing. He takes these things out and he turns them loose in there. And what they do is they go in there and they find all the rats. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I never seen rats run out the room, run out that barn. They were like, oh no, it's them. They're minks. And they're like, oh my God. He had like 4 of them. And he took the minks and he put them out, turned them loose. And they run on their own. They run in there and do their thing. Their job is to go get the rats and chase the rats out and kill the rats that won't leave. And they're running all over the place. So they're running all over, chasing them all around. And the guy that owns them, he says, well, you got to stand back a little bit. And I turn and go, why? And he goes, because sometimes they just kind of get wild and they'll just go and bite anything. Oh, really now? So I turn and stand behind him. And I go, maybe if I stand behind you, they'll get an understanding that you first, not me. And he's sitting there looking at me, he turns around and goes like, really? I said, hey man, better you than me. They belong to you, not me. You got to be kidding me. But they run around and doing this thing, they chase them all out. And the guy comes to the forklift, takes the thing up, puts them on the conveyor. And I'm standing there like, hey man, keep one of those close. I said, because I want to make sure that they're not in the apples and that kind of deal going on. He goes, oh no, they left. He said, minks and rats do not mix. And rats know that minks hate them. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. When they were all done, they all ran out back, they were done chasing them all out, they're all situated. He opens the cage back up and they automatically knew to run back in the cage and chill out. They got in there and just chilled out. I was like, you got to be joking. And he closed the door, picked the thing up. See you later, Bill. See you next time. And walked away. In the meantime, I turned to Bill and I go like, Bill, you gotta be joking me. He goes, oh yeah. He said, if you're on a farm, he said, that's what you gotta do. You gotta sit down and have these things come out and chase the rats out of the thing. Wherever there's food, he said they just show up between that and groundhogs. And I go, you're right. I said, because I happen to have been at a farm and groundhogs happen to be infiltrating the guy's chickens and stuff. He had a big chicken there. And what they would do, they would go under the fence and go and kill the chickens. And he had Jack Russell that would chase the groundhogs back in the ground. And I told him, I said, yeah, I've seen that part. And he goes, the same scenario. He said, it's just instead of groundhogs. He said, which is that big here. He said, basically, he said, we get rats to do that. He said, chickens, yup, they attract groundhogs. And the groundhogs are like, oh my God, here comes the Jack Russells. And they go back in the hole. You know, Jack Russell, the hole's big enough. Jack Russell goes down the hole, pulls the dog on the ground. Oh my God. But I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Unreal. That's my stories. I'll see you next time. Hey, we're glad you're back. We hope you enjoyed today's show. I brought a few people so that you understand what we do here, and it wouldn't be right unless I gave accolades to everybody who's here. So let me start on the other end. That's Jazz on the other end. She's our technical person who does all the editing and does all the logistics and that. She's actually been the director of the shows for this season, season 4. So I can't thank her enough. The other things you do, her favorite line, of course, is, don't touch this. Ain't that right? Right. Don't touch this. Okay. Next is Larry. Larry's our president of the group, of the association. Let me stop right there for a second, because if you want to become a Detroit storyteller, do give us a call at 313-442-3227. Or you can catch us at detroitabs@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, detroitstorytellers.com. We're everywhere. You can find us anywhere. Just pull our name up. But he's the president of the organization, plus he's part of the men's group, as always. Boy, the cell phone, I'm telling you, you know that part. But anyway, so that's something, you look into that, go look it up. Next to this person is the camera guy. He's the one we always turn and say, don't touch this. Don't touch it. Right, so, because he has that bad. He messes with cameras the whole time when we're filming and recording. But James is also, he's the camera guy. He's the one that gets everything, make sure we all set up, make sure we have the right equipment and everything like that. So, and of course, he's part of the men's group. You heard his story today. Fathers, one of the police fathers. Okay, anyway. Next person is Pamela Williams. She does all our sponsorship stuff for the association, plus with the Fourth Friday programs. She does a phenomenal job at this. I just basically said, here, if you want to do Fourth Friday as far as sponsorship, don't do it, just do whatever you do. Do that thing you do. And she does it really well. She does, she's actually taken on doing some stuff with the association also. So she's done really well with that, and thank her for being part. She is a major part of this program and this production group. The last guy I want to introduce is Richard Reeves. He is the sponsor. He's part of the sponsor. He's the director here at the Hannon Center. For the last 40 years, we've been coming here and recording here, our shows here, and without him, we wouldn't be here doing what we do. This guy here is a bad man. And I'm telling you, you need to come here to see some of the promos that you saw. Go back and look at them again about the center and everything that it takes. We hope to see you September, 4th Friday. I was kind of not doing season 5, but a production group, I'm not going to say who, but a production group turned and said, let's do season 5. So we'll come back next year and do season 5. We'll be back to entertain you. We hope that you loved everything that we saw this year and that we recorded. I think it was a great year. Yes? No? Maybe? Something like that? Okay. Don't touch this, right? Anyway, so between that and if you don't stand still, that kind of deal. But we hope to see you in the fall, September. Have a great summer. Tell a story. Definitely tell a story to somebody. If you're a storyteller, you got a story. Because if you get on the phone and talk about something that took place, that's you telling a story. So we'll see you in the fall. Have a good summer. Until next time.